Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by the head football coach at Byron Center. That, of course, is Marc Cisco. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So we are in the off week. Well, well, you can still lift, you can still condition, but you can't do any football activities. So how are you guys approaching this week?
For us, we test kids out in physical testing on Monday morning, this morning, and then we're off. So we used to do a little bit of a conditioning deal during the week, but that was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, before kids were really training year round. And so this becomes really, truly an off week for us. If kids want to go on vacation, parents want to go, because after this, they're pretty much locked in, especially if they're a multi-sport athlete in high school.
Absolutely. All right. Successful year for you guys in 2023. A lot of those same guys come back this year. What's this group going to be like for you in 2024?
Well, offensively, we return a lot of skill guys, which is good. And then our linemen just have to grow into spots. We lost some really good guys up front on offense. And then defensively, we really lost a lot of really good players for us. We lost, a dream team D lineman. We lost a starting linebacker. We lost both of our safeties. We lose a corner who had a really good season for us. So we have a lot of holes to fill in those spots that are a little more crucial, I think, than people realize.
Yeah. All right. Let's get obviously into the returners and also the players to watch for your team this year. We'll start with the offense, then we'll go to the defense, and then we'll go to special teams.
Sure. Offensively, we return Landon Tungate at quarterback, Luke Laska running back, Isaac Lee at receiver, Jackson Bovia at tackle, and Ben Kitchen at guard. So we return a lot of production numerically, but then we lose, all those other positions will all be new guys for us. And so, we need to find another tackle. We need to find another guard. We had a really good tight end last year who was new to football in the last couple of years, who ended up being a really outstanding player for us. We got to fill that position in. We have a lot of receivers that played for us last year, but one of them's got to step up and be that number 2 guy right now, and then we'll sort it out from there. And then we have to replace Blake Otto, who really played, running back for us, could play fullback for us, could play receiver for us last year, and really made us, multiple. He gave us multiple things we could do. So we need to find that guy over there. So we'll see. Obviously, everybody's in the same boat right now, but having a quarterback back is always a little comforting because you do a little less coaching there and a little more coaching around some other guys. So,
Yeah. Defensively, where are you guys at?
That'll be interesting. I think we gave up only 17 points a game last year, approximately somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't remember the exact number, but people, if you've been around football a lot, that doesn't seem very good. And then when you look at the way offenses are now in 2024, and you're like, shoot, you only have to score twice, and you're going to be in a ball game. And so we need to replace just a lot of effort guys there that were really good football players for us. Really studied opponents hard. And most of all, last year, I thought we probably did a better job tackling than we had at any other point in my career here. So hopefully those guys, we can rally some guys in there. We've had a lot of guys that played roles during the season, but they need to become starters. They need to become varsity football players that can be counted on for a large number of plays and a large number of crucial plays during a game.
Yeah. Special teams.
Yeah, special teams. Our kickers are all back. In the last few years we've had some weird fluky kicker injuries, so we'll actually have 5 kids on our roster who have kicked an extra point in their careers for us just because of funny injuries in that situation. We return our long snapper Joe Hernandez. He's had a really good summer. He's really talented long snapper, and he's got a possibility to definitely snap beyond high school. Our punter comes back. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. And we'll just continue to work on that stuff. And, outside of that, we've just made special teams a place where some guys who don't necessarily have roles for us offensively or defensively, like, here's your shot. The more we can play here, the better we're going to be. And so we've really created some competitive situations for those guys, and they really have been crucial in our success in the last couple of years.
Okay. So we've obviously talked about the kids. Now let's talk about the schedule. Of course, the OK Conference has gone through so many changes with obviously with the new River Cities Alliance Conference being formed. Teams obviously get moved around. So here is the schedule for you guys. August 30th at Battle Creek Central. September 6th, home against East Kentwood. September 13th at Morton down in Indiana. September 20th at Muskegon Mona Shores. September 27th, home against Grand Rapids Union. October 4th at Muskegon Reeds Puffer. October 11th at Grand Rapids Forest Hills Northern. October 18th, home against Muskegon. And rounding out the regular season, October 25th, home against Morris. That, of course, is down in Illinois. So pretty good schedule. Obviously, of course, moving from the white to the green this year. So new teams. What's it like heading into what's this season going to be like for you guys in terms of
Well, new teams is always an issue, I think, for anybody, just because of lack of familiarity. We've played Mona a couple of times at sub-varsity levels when we needed to fill in games. Matt's done a really good job of providing our guys opportunities to play with. Same with Muskegon, who we played a couple years ago. We had a crossover with them. So that's good. That it's new for sure. It's unfamiliar foes. It's really well coached teams all the way through. Reese Puffer has done particularly well in the last few years, and it seems to be on the uptick. And Forest Hills Northern, people forget they won 7 games last year, and we had quite a battle with them. So, and then just trying to find non-conference games is a little tough, especially in weird weeks. And we sat at the convention, myself and Coach Shillito and Coach Fairfield and Brent Cummings from Rockford, and we're all trying to figure out, okay, how can we maneuver this around so we can cut travel if possible and play, teams that are similar. So not an easy thing to do. Schedule is really good. Kentwood will be good. They've got a new coaching staff that always creates excitement for people. They have some new guys in playing for them. That'll also creates excitement. And then adding in Morris, Illinois, which really realistically is one of the best teams in the state of Illinois history. And they're pretty unique RPO team and run plays as fast as possible offensively and defensively. They're really good. They're not flashy. They're like the old Noel Dean teams of Lowell. Like that's exactly what they reminded us of. And so I know my defensive coaches were not very happy when they saw the film of them. Were not very happy with me. But so good football all the way around. Well coached teams. Battle Creek Central we played the last couple of years. And then Hammond Morton, we saw them a couple of years ago when we went down and played Elkhart, Indiana, and they needed a game as well. They're improving, they're growing. Their coach has done a really nice job there. His brother did a fantastic job in the west suburbs prior to that. So, and he called and said, "Hey, I'm pretty familiar with West Michigan football. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Sure, we need a game." Just worked out, so we'll take it. And in reality, it's a shorter drive for us to go there than it is for us to go to the east side of the state. So,
yeah, for sure. So, obviously this week, is off, but what are the next few weeks going to look like, in terms of the scrimmage, in terms of, just practices and, of course, getting ready for the game on the 30th?
Well, football is kind of unique in that you play 2 weeks after you start.
Yeah.
There isn't another high school sport that's like that right away, right out of the gate. You have, your acclimatization stuff that you have to go through. And then, you want to get to your scrimmage. You want it to be a good scrimmage. We scrimmage with Rockford, Portage Central, and Forest Hills Eastern. Again, teams that we're familiar with, well-coached teams, guys that are physical, guys that, use the scrimmage to evaluate kids. I think we all do a good job and can handle that if somebody gets nicked up, and you want to get out of there healthy and then ready to go. And somehow, in some way, you have to kind of create a separation between your preseason practice and your first week game practice and be able to do that in 2 weeks. All the while, school is going to be starting for everybody, and everybody's like, school's starting earlier. It is, but the calendar schedule is like in a 7-year cycle, and we're at the late end of that. So,
Yeah.
It's just kind of unique. You know, we're going to scrimmage when our kids are in school, which is, I can't remember that ever happening before.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and of course, also Thanksgiving is also a week late, the latest part of the year, and also that's the reason why that the college season and the high school season are starting on the same week.
correct.
And yeah, so just that those are some of the simulations for people that may not know. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting 2024 season. But Marc Cisco, thank you so much for the time as always, and best of luck to the Bulldogs coming up this
Yeah.
season.
Thank you. Appreciate your time and all you put in for our kids. Thank you.
Absolutely.